Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? What the?
Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Camp Check the Podcast. This week we have our first guest, Edward Bryant. You know him best from his EverQuest music videos, the first one being the EverQuest Next tribute song, and his latest edition, Heaven and Hell, The Battle for Kelethon. Ed, do you want to tell us what you're working on now?
The project I have coming up is tentatively titled A Song of Frozen Flame. The recording for some of the instrumental parts on it. Talking with Soraya, the young lady that did the Tear Doll vocals, and about doing some vocals for this, finishing up lyrics and whatnot.
Nice.
So
and in case everybody didn't know, at the end of this, Ed's going to do a 60-minute concert for us, and Rec is going to be singing on the vocals the entire time. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Me and Justin will be doing the background dancing.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just
background
kidding.
dancing, awesome.
None of that's actually going to happen, but we are going to talk about EverQuest. And
Well, I'm gonna dance.
Justin is going to dance, and Rec is going to sing. But right now we're going to talk about the contested. The big poll question, I think the most controversial poll question so far, is the contested. What do you think? Yay, nay? I mean, right now I believe it's 19% of people say everything should be contested, 45 say a mix of both, 13 say only the hardest, and 19% say everything contested. Or 19% say yeah. Justin, you start this one. I know you have a lot of big opinions on this.
No, I don't have opinions. No, I voted for everything should be contested because I'm not a fan of overly instanced worlds, I guess. I think whenever things get too instanced, it kind of breaks apart the community, right? So ideally, whenever you have these top-tier guilds going on these, I guess, big raids and getting this awesome loot, it kind of adds a little value to it whenever, it's not openly available for everybody at all times. And even if because I don't have all the time in the world to be, I guess, raiding every night, like it's a second job, basically. But I can accept that, and I'm okay with that, and I like to see those big, amazing items for the guilds that can get those, and it kind of stands out. It makes the item more unique to me whenever only a handful of people will ever be able to obtain that. So, I mean, and really, if you kind of look at the percentages, like it sort of tells two tales. Because yeah, the percentages are broken up, but I would say if you lump a few of them together, there's only a very small percentage of people who want instances like everywhere. You should always be able to get wherever you want, whatever boss you want to get, you should be able to do it at the drop of a hat, whatever. That's kind of a small percentage. I think everybody is okay with at least some amount of, or a decent amount of contested content. And I voted for everything contested. I can accept, maybe a mix of both. Like I can totally be okay with that. Like, maybe it's not my preference, but I can understand the argument for it, and definitely okay with that, So I don't know how you guys feel.
Rec, I never got your opinion on this. We waited till this live. So what's your this is a big one for me, this poll question. How do you feel?
Like a little bit of both, but mostly contested.
Okay, all right, good. So we're still friends.
Yeah.
Ed, how about you, Ed?
I'm of the same mind. If you make everything contested, then there's going to be a fair bit of crying about it, basically, is how I feel about it. But I do think that there's definitely should be, some contested type content for the people that, that put a little extra time in on it, work at it, things like that.
See, I have a few opinions and I guess questions on this. If you're going to do a mix of both contested and not contested, the stuff that's not contested is an instanced. I mean, because now if you're talking it being instanced, I have a major gripe with that, because I think the second you put an instance, it craps on the game. Honestly, I don't like instancing in any form. And I also think one more thing before you you respond to that, because I think most people's biggest beef with contested is the thoughts of EverQuest 1. Camp spawning, like, people just sitting in camps for days, fighting over it. Like, the best guild just kind of owning things. But if the AI is as good as it's going to be, mobs are never going to be in the same place. They're going to be everywhere. You're kind of almost going to have to hunt things down, so you're not going to be able to camp it. So I think the idea of, like, one top guild camping a spawn isn't really going to be possible, because that spawn's not going to be anywhere. You know what I mean? So whichever what guild's active and wants to jump on, they can go find it, kill it, and it's dead. So that's sort of I think contested's better.
That's sort of their whole point with this game too, right? A non-static world. So if it's not contested and this world isn't static, then I think part of the drama and the rush to get to that content, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome stories to be able to tell. Like I think that's the other thing too. Like the way I took this poll was that do you want it heavily instanced or do you not? Like, is that what you guys read from it? Because that's sort of what I took from it.
Yeah.
Wreck. I mean, is that what you think they're kind of implying, that instances are going to be in? Possibly?
Well,
I think they've said in the past that there would be a little bit, but the majority of the game was going to be contested. I don't get why they're even, like, asking us.
It worries me. I don't know. I mean, so far the poll results are going good, and they say a mix of both, but I feel like the mix of both, here's what I think is going to happen. I think the mix of both is going to translate into anything that's trash is going to be contested, anything that's important is going to be available. And that's kind of the way I would hate to see it go, because I think, I just know, like, I played EQOA before, and you kind of had to even earn your right to raid, and I liked that. I thought that was fun, just, like, kind of fighting for the raids, and that was exciting. Because, like, once you actually raided, it was more of, like, a special thing because you were there and you just, you found the guy, you fought off other guilds, and now you have him. But I think once you get to a point to where it's always available, that's when you start that Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 raid nights, and it's a horrible, horrible thing to get into, in my opinion. I know people love that, but that's not raiding, that's farming to me.
There was something, though, about, and it sounds bad, but, like, it took me years before I could get into a guild that could actually go and get stuff like that, and it made that content feel even more epic. It wasn't attainable at first, and when you have these instances with 10-man raids or whatever, like, where everybody gets to do it, that's just kind of, it cheapens the content.
It really does. Ed?
I read something on Reddit this week that I found really interesting as far as, instancing and how they're going to, deal with this sort of thing. And they talked about the world being so big that there would be less chance that they would need to do something like that. The original topic was talking about how in Ultima Online they had, emergent AI even back then, but the world was so small that in beta, when they released all these players out, they just slaughtered everything, and nothing had a chance to emerge at all, and so they gave up on it and took it out.
That's sort of like what the rabbits inhabit the forest, the wolves kill the rabbits. I know what I've seen that before. I've seen everybody discussing that. So
the world big enough, and then and then they're also talking layers below the world and all that, to where you don't have people queuing up or lining up or whatever for spawns, then maybe you wouldn't have so much issue with, what's contested and what's not contested.
Like, it's kind of a weird line I got to draw, because I can understand, if only the top tier people can get some of the best, gear in the game. I think it kind of sucks for the people who like to have a chance at that, and I guess aren't able to obtain it because they can't put in that amount of time to get that object. But I guess I'm definitely of the old school mindset where I'm okay with that. Even being one of the people that will never be on the bleeding edge of getting that hot new epic item, I guess, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with seeing other people have it and me not. And that's sort of what made me, to me back in the day, like armor and certain gear and swords, that made it stick out to me. Like I can actually really recall, now I know this item's kind of terrible at this point, but the first time I saw Soulfire, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's like the, or at least an EQ one, is the Paladin only burning blade. That literally inspired me to create a Paladin the first go around, because I saw it. Granted, he was in Skeleton, so technically the the whole wood should have been burning down, I suppose. But it was like it looked really badass, and I was like, I want that. Like how? And it wasn't that easy to get, so I'm okay with. I think it makes the items more unique.
I definitely agree. I mean,
I think that would come down to whether, what sort of audience Sony's going to tailor this to. If they want to tailor it to the biggest audience possible, then you're going to see, things available to more people. Whereas if they decide not to, if they decide to tailor it to a little bit smaller audience, then you'll see things where, like you say, like the flagging system in Planes of Power, I thought that was great. But if you were to try and do something like that, in a World of Warcraft type of thing, it would never fly. You'd have people, going nuts over the fact that they couldn't get the flags.
I think with the
I'm going to
size
kind
of
of, I guess, echo what Justin said earlier. Sorry, Justin, but yeah,
no, go ahead.
Pretty much in every MMO I've ever played, I've never been in the top raid guilds. I've never had the time to put into it. I've always been pretty much, I guess, I want to call myself like hardcore casual. Like I love the games, but I just don't have that much time to put into them. But like kind of what you were talking about with Soulfire, some of my favorite memories were kind of like way back when you would see those kind of like them few top people on the server with like the best gear decked out. And I remember I would know them by name. And
I would like sneak up beside them and right click them to inspect them because I don't know how.
It was like a badge of honor for them. I love it.
Exactly, that's awesome. Like I love that. Like I have my own little.
Some people think that drives people away, but to me, I think that drives people to play more. Because like when I play a game and I can kind of conquer all the end game content as a casual player and I have everything, I have nothing else to look forward to. But if I always have that gear that that's hard to get, or it's, you know what I mean, it keeps me driving forward. Really, that's what makes me want to play.
Somebody in the
Rack,
chat
I'm sorry, you were
is
about to say
asking,
something.
does it have to be contested to be difficult to get?
No. No, it doesn't.
But I think the only if you want to make it difficult without it being contested, now you're talking about, in my opinion, a scripted instance that's going to be difficult, and I just don't like instancing in any form. I don't like anything that takes people out of the real world, personally.
I think if an MMO developer can prove that they can make some really different... It's such a weird topic, because like, I think that it really is, because I think the contested... It's not even so much straight difficulty, right? Like, that's part of it, but maybe that's the wrong word. Like, maybe rarity. Whenever only a few people were able to get it, then it creates rarity for that item, rather than, say, 3,000 rogues having the same epic, only the top few will get it. But yeah... God, this is a hard topic.
Well, I think what the contested part is, like, usually, like, we'll just go like old school stuff. It would only spawn every X amount of days, let's just say, and on top of that, only one guild could get it. So even if the encounter was easy, just by rarity alone, it makes them items so much harder to get, and it makes them so much more unique and cool because it's that much harder to get. Anytime you have something readily available, even if it's the hardest thing in the world, people are going to find a way to slam through that content, and everybody's going to get the gear. That's just the way I look at it. I've seen it happen. I mean, in WoW and EverQuest 2 and any of the games, it doesn't matter how hard you make it, people are going to get through it, and they're going to get through it a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah.
So the only way to kind of prevent that is to limit how many people can get to it and how often they can get to it.
Diggs in the chat.
Any guys ever...
What's that?
Any guys ever play Monks in EQ1 and have to get the raster for the epic? You remember that?
No, I don't.
I was never a monk, yeah.
I was a monk, but I never did the epic.
Was it hard?
No, it was
forever.
It was insane. Just waiting for him to spawn.
Yeah, dude. When you're like camping some guy for like 24 hours plus, that's getting ridiculous.
Okay, no.
Yeah, but it'll never be like that again. You'll be more hunting rather than camping, which will make it
because
a hell of a lot more.
Have you guys heard them? Have you heard them talk about rating in this game? It's like not. I guess it's not going to be proper rating, right? It's more going to be like, how many people do you bring to this battle to accomplish the goal that you need? So Dave referenced, I guess, Crushbone, and he says there's going to be thousands of orcs, and it's not so much that like you have to have. It's not a raid instance, right? It's not going to just be this has to be a raid. It's more like, okay, I went in there with a few guys, got my ass whooped, and then now, okay, so I definitely need more people. Like, what roles didn't we have? Technically, not. I'm sorry. Yeah. So do what?
I was going to say the sense that I get as far as rating any EQ next goes is going to be more along the lines of the world events.
That's the rallying calls and such.
See, I took them as like there's no structured rating to where it's like now you have this is tier, this is where you go after you kill him, you go here. Dave, the way I took it was there's a world, and in the world there's different places. There's Crushbone, there's random places, there's different mobs. They're not all as easy. Everybody's different. There's thousands of people, and it's up to you to decide where you want to go and how many people you want to bring, and you bring the means that you think you need necessary to conquer the area.
How about this? Check this out.
I'm checking it out. Let's do this. Let's do it.
A dragon comes over and starts terrorizing Kanos, and this is a rallying call. And this dragon is hanging out for, who knows, like maybe a few weeks of real life time until enough people can defeat him. And maybe people try and fail until enough people, get together
until I show
and
up.
Get their stuff together and figure out, some kind of plan to take him down. And then once that dragon's dead, he's gone forever.
That's great. They need to have that. They absolutely need to have
raids.
one-time kills. I don't like the idea of grinding raids. I mean, I definitely think like they were talking about Crushbone. You kind of have to. You don't have to, but I think you kind of need to have some sort of NPC that's going to be the leader there that you can eventually kill again. But yeah, for rally calls, I think every rally call should come with a one-time only kill. That drops one-time only loot.
And Dave's just kind of on it right now, but that's sort of already been talked about, and that's something that at least Dave has mentioned is in that link I sent you guys. The interview he mentioned, I think he referenced like a green dragon dwelling in a cave, and once you kill it, maybe it's gone for good, right? And that's pretty cool. Like I think that's awesome actually, but like I always kind of wondered how you guys would feel about that were it to be somebody like a Nagafin or a named boss or something like that. I think, historically with MMOs, you kill it and they rinse and repeat and they spawn after so many days, whatever. But like, if Nagafin's dead and he's dead for good, like, is that a good thing? Like, do you guys like that idea?
That's a great thing.
Eventually,
I mean, you have to. Obviously, Nagafin can't die because then the mascot for my site will kind of take a shit out. You know what I mean? I love Nagafin. No, but I mean, I think obviously they're going to have to plan something like that, like a big NPC dying around the rally call. So they'll have to know that this NPC is going to die, and when he dies, I think it should progress the server in a certain way. But yeah, I mean, especially a named NPC, when Nagafin dies, that should be it. You shouldn't be able to kill Nagafin 50 times. He's such a big name. When somebody kills him, that's it. He's dead. And I think that sort of thing breeds server like history and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Well, and they talked about that. I remember them talking about that. The fact that rather than starting a character and min-maxing him and then rolling up an alt so that you have something to do, the events will change, and you could talk to somebody 2 or 3 years after launch, about something that happened, when you first started playing.
Yeah, that's sort of like the Hollis reference, right? Like it wasn't there whenever we started, but it was there whenever I guess your friends.
A changing history, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like that. They're like in any game for the most part. Like I always think of WoW. I don't know if any of you played WoW really, but like there was back in Vanilla there was a server event, one time only, and it was an AQ event, and like only one person could complete that quest, and when they did, they got a mount and I think a title. I mean, literally in every server, like that one person that did that, it's like they're like mythology in the server now. It's like people talk about them. That name's known, and I just think that's like amazing.
Okay, so what do you think about this? And Ferris brought this up, but like, what do you think about loot? So, if we're looking at the history of MMOs, you kill Nagafin, Cloak of Flames, something epic like that. Well, you kill him once in this game, one person gets the Cloak of Flames, and then he's dead for good, or do you handle it in I guess what Kralos, or however you pronounce it, is bringing up? Do you give him like an artifact, I guess an item modifier or something like? How do you handle loot in an event where when he's dead, he's dead? Like loot can't necessarily, I guess.
So you're saying, I'm getting that you're saying like, is the loot going to become obsolete eventually? Is that what you're saying?
No. So let's say you kill Nagafin and he drops the Cloak of Flames, but he's dead. He's dead for good. Now, will no other dragon ever carry that item? How do you handle items dropping from mobs whenever they're, I guess their death is final?
How about crafting? How about why does Nagafin? Why is he flying around with some cool cloak?
Because he's not flying around with it. He's a dragon. We went over this. Dragons love treasure hoards. It's. I know my dragons, right?
I don't want to
I
go to
know what-
Nagafane though. I want Nagafane to come to me and be like, tearing shit up, and we got to go stop him.
That's kind of arrogant to say that Nagafin has to come to you. He's a pretty big dude.
Nagavan answers to no man.
No, no.
I can attest.
No, I see what you mean though. Like you're saying, like you think rather
Yes,
than
correct.
Nagafin sitting in a cave somewhere, he should be kind of out causing destruction, and we should
Well,
have to stop
maybe
it.
he moves
Nagavan
around.
should be-
Maybe he's in his cave sometimes. Maybe he's terrorizing villages. Other times.
He's got to be in Soul B. He's got to be hanging out with
But I
kobolds.
still don't see why like all raid mobs have to have like items on them, especially if they're like a dragon or something. I get that you said all raid mobs should have treasure chests or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Not all.
Let's
just,
say
just
let's
I would
take
can I
it
just
somewhere
say-
different. Let's
Yes, you can
I
say
would
it.
rather my idea again of like Nagafane or some dragon terrorizing the village. We finally get enough people. We figure out how to kill him. Now all these resources from his body are available, and maybe like even NPCs have them, like scales. Like a dragon's gonna leave behind a lot of dragon scales. It shouldn't just be a few, and maybe like even
Yeah.
like the NPCs pick them up, and like you can do quests and get some of those items, and you craft items instead of.
I like that idea, but these items you're talking about, are they in limited quantities or are they endless?
Sure.
Like I kind of
That-
see.
But
limited,
if it's
right?
a dragon, you can go kill another dragon, months later when another dragon's causing trouble, and then there's more scales.
As long as
I
it's in limited
think-
quantity for each kill, I'm fine with that, and I think it's a great idea.
Sure.
I just don't want to see it's like one dragon's killed, so now there's an endless supply forever at this NPC.
Hey,
Hi.
hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy's in the chat.
Jeremy's in.
He bailed on us. This is war on Massively. This is war on. No, I'm just joking.
No, we're just kidding.
Yeah.
Jeremy, we'll have to grab you next time.
Do you want to jump in right now? If he's
We
not
can bring him
coming?
in. Bring him in. Where's he at? Pretty excited.
Jeremy, you want to join the call?
We're talking about
I have
dragons.
two guests.
What instrument does he play?
Krallis, you don't understand. We don't have any money. I'm broke as shit.
Ed, can you play us some waiting music while we get Jeremy in the room?
Anyways, okay. So let's keep the discussion going with it.
I think he's actually about to play.
Okay, go ahead. Go play some
Kind of
ditty.
excited for this. Let him play.
Oh, Lord. I have the sound down, or else I'm going to feed back through the speakers.
Nah, it's a... All right, go ahead, Justin. What were you about to say?
Okay, so back to dragons or Jeremy or whatever we were talking about.
We should go to the next topic soon.
Okay. How fucking rude.
But say what you want to say.
Well, I actually think the next topic kind of ties
I
in
think
pretty good because
I think we transitioned
Yeah.
into it, which is kind of like whenever it's dead, right? So like I don't so much have what you said with the dragon scales and all this other things with a typical basic green dragon that's fine. Like I guess, and maybe this is just my nostalgia talking, but like I would never want something like Nagafin to be gone from the world,
Sure.
like permanently. So like Crushbone, Emperor Crush, like I would never want to go through and have him permanently be erased from the world. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's an old school mindset, and I need to look beyond that. But that's just personal feelings there. There are defining NPCs and locations that even in an ever-changing world, I wouldn't want to necessarily never see again. So like somebody like Lady Vox or Nagafin or Venerosa Theater or something along those lines. I don't want to see these guys go, and maybe that's just me. So.
yeah, it's
Mm,
all right. So the next thing
Okay.
on there, the next topic we have is a link to the future, and that's talking about the kind of being able to link the landmark characters to EverQuest Next. But I kind of want to jump past that and come back to that. I'm dying to talk about the new player models and get your guys' feedback on them and what you think. The female dwarfs, the male dwarfs, and dark elves were released at PAX. And I mean, I guess if you read anywhere, there's people that love it, there's people that hate it, there's in between. I mean, Rek, you're usually the most optimistic one. What do you think of them? Like, what's your favorite parts? Do you like anything, not like anything?
The dwarves look amazing. Although
male and
the
female?
female dwarves, I'm glad they gave them beards, but they're not long enough. They're pathetic beards. And I think Brass would agree. But
Yeah.
yeah, I liked what I'm seeing so far. The
Of course you do.
Dark elves maybe could have been a little better, but I'd be happy with them if that's the final product.
Ed, how about you?
Dark Elves are going to have to look a little more evil somehow.
Draw angry eyebrows, maybe.
Well, and a narrower nose, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I think I'm with you on the Dark Elf. I like the male dwarf. I love the male dwarves. I actually thought they looked great. I really like them.
Yeah, agreed.
The female
best.
dwarves, I'm kind of, I guess, unbiased on. You know what I mean? I don't ever really play a female dwarf, so they don't really. I don't want to say they don't matter much to me, but they look good. They're, you know what I mean? Give or take. Now, Dark Elves, obviously, I say this in like almost every podcast. It's like the only race I usually ever play, and the only thing I'm gonna say, if there's no option for me to remove the horns, I can't play that race. I can't. No, I mean, I get it. Like they want to make it different, and that's cool. And I like the idea of changing the races around and not being so stuck to the past. And I think it's awesome. But just me personally, I don't like the horns. You know, I don't like them. I can get past everything else. Just
maybe you haven't seen the right set of horns for you yet.
Oh, so you're saying it's not like one horn fits all?
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a fancier horn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There'll be an adjustment slider just for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I stand corrected, and I take that back. No, you can't. Damn it. I'm sorry, Rack. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He's gone. No,
I'm pretty sure I'll be playing the goofiest looking Karen that I can possibly find just to bother Justin.
Well, we already saw it. It was in the trailer.
I'm going to be playing him.
The Karen. Didn't they say
Cheetor.
somewhere they say that Karens aren't just going to be like tigers or lions? That they
No,
can be,
yeah, they said like numerous heads. You can pick any kind of doofy head you want.
If you can be a panther, I'm rolling Karen, man.
I want to be a lynx.
We cannot be friends in this case. I'm sorry. It's done.
Okay. What are you going to roll?
So
a human?
I don't.
Original.
No.
Al
I
original.
wasn't a big fan. Yeah, no, I won't be a human. I won't be a human. Too much of a sausage nose. The dwarves. Okay, let me just start. Have halfling faces, so that's not cool. Like they need to look more rough and grizzled, and like they're actually dwarves, not halflings. Like I like halflings on halflings, but they need to be more square bodied. The beard's got to come down further.
Do you think it's the males and the females, or just the females?
No, I think the males look awesome. Honestly, like
Yeah,
I'm not
I
a
love
dwarf
them.
guy, but that's like the best, probably the best character I've seen so far. Not obviously in game or anything, but the dwarves look fine. It's the female dwarves they need to really work on. It's too doughy-eyed halfling looking. So I mean,
See, I think me and you have this same argument with different races and a lot of other things. You're much more a fan of ugly races. Like you want the trolls and ogres to be like
you want me to start on this again?
huge, fat
I can do that.
slobs with warts.
I don't even
belly,
play
and
them. I don't even play them. It's just the right way. We've already discussed this. I have to go retread an old argument where I'm just going to be right.
All right. Did you guys see that poll on Reddit where the guy like asked a bunch of questions about how you felt about the different individual race models and then the general art directions of the landscape?
No. What did it say?
It was like about 800 people participated, so a pretty decent poll. And basically, people love the landscape. That was like the number one thing. People love the art direction in general. I think like the Karen, people weren't so happy with that or something. But overall, like
Okay.
the biggest percentages and everything questioned was like people are pretty positive for the most part.
Okay. How many people voted on that poll? Just out of
About
curiosity.
800.
He said 800.
800. Oh, shit, that's way more than I wanted. My point's going
There goes
to be
your
harder to
point
prove
right
now. No, but it's not that everything is bad. I think the Karens look, like I said, I don't like the way the one lion Karen looked or whatever, but I won't go too deep back into that. But the Dark Elves do what?
Oh, Diggs says the survey was biased.
The super bot. Yes, exactly. I like Diggs. Like I agree. So the Dark Elf, right? Let me go back to the Dark Elf. His little second ears or whatever, they're horns, I guess, but they also look like second ears. That looks really dumb. I really want to call out James Cameron because I really think more than anybody, even less on SOE's fault. Like I think Avatar's ruined every elf for me because like I think even whenever I played Rift, I thought that their what were they called, Kalari or whatever, looked like avatars. So like now I think that, you know, I think if James Cameron didn't create Pocahontas 2, that these dark elves wouldn't look so bad. Because when we be focusing on the bridge of the nose, maybe like I think that bridge is like way too big, too doughy-eyed again. Maybe a little scowl on the mouth wouldn't be too bad. Like I think he just looks a little too happy. I don't think it's as terrible as I originally did. And hopefully, like, you can like click an evil button when you go to create your character or something. They said it's very early. They just need to make him a little more pissed off because that was my kid. I'm sorry, guys. If you heard that,
You want to bring him
Well,
on the podcast?
that's what
Yeah.
SOE mode is for. You can run around just growling at people.
dude.
Scowling.
SOE mode. Like, there's gonna be like 3 people that use it. Like, really.
No, I think you're
Dude,
dead wrong
they
there. I don't use it, but I think
confirmed
there's gonna be a lot of people that use it.
They confirmed that you could record like facial
You can make your own-
expressions you make.
yeah,
and make,
I mean-
make your own emotes, basically.
Yeah,
That's
like
gonna
this
be
one's
awesome.
awesome.
So you don't have to have it running all the time.
I'm just gonna run around with an ugly scowl face at all times, just look angry and pissed
As
off.
for the
at
survey,
world.
I mean, they said like it was more about the art. You were saying like the art direction in general. I definitely think like Justin and even me. I think we both really like the art direction. I just don't think we like some of the specifics. Like I think like we both kind of like the Karen. We just didn't like the lion head too much. We both like the dark elf. We just don't like the horns and the nose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I would break. It can if I could break them off, I would. That's fine. I don't like the horns, right? The horns are bad. Hopefully we can. I wish I could. I got Rex's approval to do this. I don't know how to share an image. I created a masterpiece of art. I accomplished art.
Just screen share like you did before.
Yeah, but that kind of broke my computer earlier.
If you have your cell phone, bring it up on your phone.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, we can
gonna
do
look
that.
terrible.
Okay, y'all go. No, it's gonna look great.
Is this the one where?
What'd you say? You're kind of breaking up.
We'll pull it up. This is how prepared we are in this podcast. We're ready for anything.
We actually do try to keep this podcast pretty much as spur of the moment as we can. Not saying we don't plan ahead for like topics and all that, but we don't do too much preparation beforehand of like going over everything because we try to make it to honestly like our honest opinions on the air. So if
And
you're,
on top of that, babies. I mean, you can hear it. I don't have to prove it. I have it in the background right now.
yeah,
So, can we see this?
there you go. Stop right there.
Oh, hold
Stay
on.
still.
Let me focus on it. You can barely.
Okay.
It's blurry.
Now, this is using my unique MS Paint skills. So what I did was I got the dwarf and just squashed it. And I put an old EQ dwarf face on the female's face. And it fixed the problem. It was weird. It worked. It was perfect. The dark elf, I shrank the eyes and I used the crayon tool to fill in the blanks. Matt, you can attest. It looked great. And made his hair white.
Yeah.
And I think gave him like a frowny face. It was fucking perfect. Perfect. We can move on now, guys. I don't want to
Yeah.
get back. I don't want to be the mouthy this guy again. Let's move it.
All right. The Parker system will end with that. Let's go back to the Link to the Future with the Landmark and the EverQuest Next transfer. I'm just going to start off and say I think that's pretty much the best thing they've ever announced, ever. I mean,
Yeah.
because just saying, like, Landmark, for me, I'm not much of a crafter or a builder. I'm not because I don't like it, but because I'm terrible at it. So it just
I'm
didn't...
creative.
I'm
like
I'm
it,
horrible.
but the only part I'm a little disappointed about is I remember them stating that your avatar in Landmark will be more simple than EQ Next. Like, it sounds like you're not going to have as many customizable, choices.
Mm.
So I don't know. That's kind of a bummer. Once you actually, if you do want to transfer your character to actually the actual game.
I mean,
can
wouldn't you
have
think they
missed
would kind
out
of give
on
you an
some
option to
customization.
recustomize them?
Maybe that would be cool.
I would hope so.
I mean, I
because
definitely think they would.
the one thing I would want is I don't think I'm gonna pick one of the races they probably offer off the beginning. So hopefully you'll be able to like take a magic pill that pops you into whatever race you want to be. Because I don't whenever I go to transfer, I'm sure it'll be basically just a couple options, right? Probably human, obviously. I don't know what else, Karen, but do you think all the races? I bet all the races won't be available for Landmark in the beginning. They will be available for next. So hopefully they won't restrict you. Hopefully they'll give you some like leniency whenever it comes to transferring over.
Ed, what do you think? I mean, obviously you're an extremely creative guy. Like, just listen to your music. I mean, is Landmark something that you're interested in?
Actually, kind of was. I kind of, got into the Minecraft thing for a little while. I thought that was kind of cool. It would be even cooler to be able to, do something like that in a high-res type of procedural world. That did actually interest me a little bit.
Yeah, see now, honestly, like I was never that into Landmark. I thought it was a cool idea, but it's something that I probably didn't plan on investing much time. But I think the reason that this training is so good is because it's now going to pull in people like me who didn't normally plan on playing. But now that I can transfer my character, especially with that adventure class, you better believe I'm going to be putting a lot of time into Landmark, just so I'm, one step ahead come launch down EverQuest next. I think it just, I really do think it made Landmark that much more important for everybody.
So I know they mentioned maybe having critters and things along these lines, but have they properly discussed what kind of enemies we can expect in this world, if at all? I know they're going to be limited in it, right? But I mean, is it just going to be basic items, and maybe somebody in chat knows?
I don't recall them saying anything, but I mean, if there's going to be an adventure class, there's got to be some sort of mob.
There was a little mention of PvP, I think.
I'll put a pick in your face, I guess.
So you can like maybe make arenas in Landmark and do a little PvP.
As far as Landmark goes, imagine what guild housing is liable to look like if you had a bunch of people involved in building stuff like that.
That's okay. Insane.
So I think I can, Matt, you're on my level. Not good with all this shit. Like I've played Minecraft and had the most god-awful looking... I mean, I basically just built a staircase, right? Not that was impressive. Yeah, exactly. So, how do you guys feel about these tools? Are you actually going to try to use them? How do you... I think this was a topic of discussion. There was actually a roundtable poll, right? I think the obvious and the easiest answer is, I want simple but complex, or easy but deep, or whatever. And that's like...
For somebody like me, these tools need to, I want them to be complex, but they need to be extremely user-friendly, especially for somebody like me. Like, the UI's got to be really good and kind of intuitive. So and at the same time, real quick, just like one more thing that I would like to see, even if it's all like the cash shop that somebody else makes, like, I'm not going to be able to build anything from the ground up. But I wish I could build almost like buy like a frame of something. Like if somebody's selling like a house frame and I could take that and then kind of decorate it and put... Right. Yeah, so that's what I'll be more into, if they have it or whenever people make that sort of thing. I'm not going to be able to build anything from the ground up. I'm just terrible at that.
Well, so, like, I think the easiest answer is, yeah, of course, like, do you want it user-friendly? Yeah, you don't want it user-unfriendly. Like, you don't want people to get turned off by your product, so of course you want that. But, like, how do you handle the depth? Like, I think that's only scratches the surface whenever you say, I want it user-friendly. So, like, I was thinking, I mean, think about the different video options you get in a video, any kind of video game, right? Like, you got your basic settings for this makes it look gooder, and then you hit advanced settings, and all of a sudden you get like 8,000 different options. So it's like, how do they handle that gate? Like from the transition from maybe Dota 2 is like a good example. I don't know. I haven't played it that much, but I do know that like within that game, like there are tutorial videos within the game itself that you can kind of see. And how do you shave off like a voxel and make it look half decent? How do you really, I guess, refine that thing to where it looks like a decent structure? What kind of tools are you looking for in game? I think it's easy to say user friendly, but like let's go beyond that. Like, what do you guys expect? What is user friendly?
I don't know. I mean, they have their work cut out for them. I mean, think of programs like Photoshop and stuff like that. I mean, they've been working on UI and making everything user friendly for years, and SOE kind of has to do it like now.
Did you guys
for
hear
Landmark
how they're
and make
going
it work
to
good.
like slowly, you'll slowly unlock more abilities for building,
like more tool sets?
Yeah, like
I think that's good if you start from day
it's
one.
Gonna slowly teach you, and so if you don't really want to get into the really complex stuff, it'll probably teach you like some real basic easy stuff first, and then for people.
Now, are you saying there's going to be a tutorial or like a server-wide unlock?
I would imagine there's going to be some sort of tutorial or something.
So it's like you start off with the basic thing, they tell you to go build a house, you build a house, and then after that you unlock some more?
Like, even they could even do something where I don't know if they'd instance this off or whatever the hell. I don't, I will say this with Landmark, I'm a lot more willing to accept like crazy shit and be okay with it and not get disgruntled about it. So like, if they broke you out of the world and like maybe if you want to learn how to build a basic house or something like that, right, they could kind of step-by-step guide you through like a tutorial or something along those lines. Something, because I'm not going to learn how to do this crap like I want to learn how to do it, but my time is so limited that, I'm not gonna lie, if somebody was kind of holding my hand through some of it and teaching me, then maybe I'd be more willing to do it. I don't want to put that. I guess I don't. I have an interest in it to where I would like to be able to do it, but I don't have a big enough interest in it to where I'm going to spend like 40 or 50 hours learning how to make a basic structure. You know, so.
You could do a separate weekly podcast covering that.
On how to.
Oh, I'm not going to lead it.
Actually, not a bad idea.
To make a block,
structures.
get the cursor and put it down. I will buy your structures, Rick. Lady Voxel. I keep pushing that.
I like that idea. So you're saying somebody needs to build Lady Vox out of voxels and call it Lady Voxel and sell it? Well, now you just gave the entire community your idea.
Well, I'm not going to build it. I can't do it.
Well, you called the idea right now, so you should get a percentage of royalties. If not,
I just want player studio money. I'm not
take the legal route.
I'm not greedy. I just want 75%.
That's reasonable. I mean, because the idea is the hardest part to come up with. Anybody can build this stuff. Anybody can build it. The idea, that's you know.
Thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page, man. I knew I liked you.
I mean, you know, we always are. All right, so I'm gonna jump to the next thing, just because we're running a little, not too long, but the Parker system. I mean, this is one thing that they kind of released more on. It's not like a huge topic, but what do you guys think about it? Do you like it? I saw somebody doing backflips, kind of.
I love it.
Reminiscent of Lara
Croft. It's gonna make
Croft.
traveling like so much more fun.
You know what kills me?
I will
this is
admit,
gonna sound...
the backflip while you're moving forward was a little strange, but whatever.
Wait, I'm sorry, I got distracted by a comment. Are we talking about the parkour system?
Yeah. The heroic movement.
Okay, so I think I would like she did 7 to anywhere between 7 and 35 flips in the beginning. That was the one weird part for me. It was like it twisted out. I definitely over-exaggerate shit. But it wasn't that bad. Like some of it looked okay, and I'm more willing to accept that again in like Landmark. But I do think it'd be weird if everybody can just be like hovering, or the hover boost was probably the weirdest part for me. Now in EverQuest Next, those are available. I think they mentioned this in the first videos they showed. If it's like some kind of special item, like I'm okay with that because there's like levitation. Yeah, so there's levitation in EverQuest 1. I'm cool with that, but I don't necessarily like want to be just playing Mirror's Edge the whole time. You know, like I don't mind the traversal stuff. I hope that they do it to where the races are like unique.
I was just going to say that because you can't
like,
have an ogre backflip because that's going to be absurd. If I'm an ogre warrior with plate on and I'm running around doing backflips through the air, that's going to be a bit much.
Well, I hope, yeah.
I had a dwarf that could do that in EQ1.
Well, dwarves, they have them strong, sturdy legs. They can do that. Just boom. But ogres, not.
There was
so
a badass parkour EQ1 dwarf video. We should link at some point. It's actually really cool. Yeah, it's awesome. But so like I hope that trolls are definitely like not as agile as something like a dark elf. You know, something along those lines. Like they sound like they're gonna do this. Every different rate or class rather has an animation for, if I'm holding the sword or you're holding the sword and our class is different, we're going to swing it different. Like ideally they should, and they probably already showed it, right? Because the Karen has a totally different, he does a super jump thing or whatever.
I thought that was a warrior ability.
Oh.
Yeah, the warrior build, yeah.
Well, stop calling me out, okay?
I'm
on.
There he is, cut you off. Shut him down.
It's all right.
I'm kidding. No, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I do think the Parker system definitely needs
Diggs got my back. It was Karen Sprint. Diggs has me.
Oh, the Karen.
Oh, okay. No, I'm wrong in the leap. I'm sorry. So I'm right, sort of.
So you're kind of right. Yeah. Your idea was right. Your implementation is terrible. No, I know what you mean, but like, I think I want to see them if they're going to put it in. They really need to put the time in to make it realistic. Obviously it's a fantasy game, but they need to make it fit. And they also, I'm pretty sure they mentioned mounts being able to do this. I kind of don't get that to an extent. Like, I could see maybe like a mount sliding down a hill, and maybe jumping. But what else is a mount going to do? I hope it's kind of stop.
The horse tumbles down the hill.
Because I don't want horses doing 360
It'd be cool if different types of mounts also had different types of heroic movement. Like maybe if you rode some kind of I don't know, cat or something. If it would be cool if they could even like climb. Really. Like if you jump up, maybe it could grab onto a ledge and then, shuffle over top.
I think you're on the side.
Obviously, you don't want a horse
like
to do
That's
that,
cool
but I really.
We have a spider mount recommendation from Fearos, and that sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you's ever read like some of the like Dritz books, but now that we're talking about that and like Parker movement, they had like these lizard mounts that would kind of run
Yeah.
on walls. That would be cool. Like I would love to see
yeah.
that. That would be
Talking
freaking
about,
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like if you could just have like a lizard mount that would just run all over everything, I would. Dude, that's the only mount I would use.
EQ1 just added hand mounts. Like I don't know. Like, listen, this is fun. Let's all go get on board with that. Have you seen that? It's
They have a way?
I don't like them.
a hand mount.
Like the little hand
what
from
finger do you ride on?
Adam's Family.
Dude, no, you,
Really? Are you serious? Or are you kind of messing around with me right now?
no. Shit,
Yeah,
you know,
they're in there.
Not
They've,
joking.
uh,
There's actually a hand mount.
They got introduced, I think, a couple expansions back, and now they've got hand mounts that like have tattoos on them for whatever your class is.
So wait,
It's
is
a
it something that
little
came out with like Halloween that was kind of not to be
No,
taken
no,
like
no, no,
dead
I think it was
serious,
Reign
or
of
is it
Fear.
It was
dead
like
think
a
it was
serious?
mob
Reign
in
of-
one of the expansions or
I think
something.
There
it was
used,
Reign of Fear.
there used to be a mob in the Planet Hate that was a hand that would run around.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, this
Oh,
is literally
yeah,
something
yeah,
you
okay.
ride though. You just go around slapping people. I'm pretty sure it's the animation.
Hmm.
No,
I'm
that's
thrown
a
off
lot.
now.
That's
I don't even know.
also
I don't
a
even know how to respond to that. I'm kind of at a standstill now because I don't want to ride on a mount.
All
That's a
right.
hand.
Diggs
Well,
says he wants
all
to
right.
see a villainous movement as well as a heroic.
Yeah, I saw that. That's actually a good recommendation too, especially if you get like a dark elf rogue. They can really
Absolutely,
do some cool shit with
absolutely
that.
for Dark Elves. That would really help Dark Elves.
Yeah,
How
I
do
think
you-
Dark
How
Elves.
do you move in an evil way, in a villainous way?
You
I don't know, you
lurch
kinda
your
had that-
shoulders and crawl like that was villainous. That was very,
I mean, I think it
yeah.
could be very simple. Just think about it like somebody who's kind of basic and noble. They walk shoulders straight up, kind of that normal posture to where, like, you know, some back alleyway grimy dude's going to kind of hunch over, more like a roguish
Yeah.
walk. Something simple like that. I don't know, but I like the villain.
That's the other-
Yes, it was.
That's the
That
other
was
thing
one of
about Dark Elves that I wondered about, because if you see the animation, their face move, in moving like an evil fashion, it might help the whole Aladdin thing with the Dark Elves.
Yeah, no, I mean,
this would be bad.
what did you say, Justin?
We got a recommendation for cape over face, and I said yes. That would be good. Cape over face,
Oh.
just eyes creeping over the top. That looks
There you
good.
go.
All right, good. Confirmed.
Confirmed. Nice. Do you just want to jump
Uh,
to the last topic yet, or are we having fun with this still?
No, we can.
Let's move on. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. I mean, so the last topic we have is the latest poll. What's your favorite small race?
Well,
I
this is
mean-
the most important, clearly.
Justin has a theory that this pretty much means not what's your favorite small race. It means which small race do you want to see make it to the beginning of the game. And honestly, right away I see Faye Arasi. Why is that on this list?
Because it's.
No.
I'm pretty sure they have like say
No.
20% of the votes or something like that.
Why?
I have
Why?
a theory that there's 5 people voting hundreds and hundreds of times.
You're right. You know, somewhere down in like Arkansas, there's a little shack with like a ringleader making like their 5 kids vote over and over again for the
I
Arasi.
think
And
it
that's
is.
how they're getting the votes.
Yeah.
I
I had this theory.
how are
that-
Arasi beating out Froglocks and Ratanga, man?
Yeah.
I
So
don't-
I have this. I have a chart of what I like. So I put halflings and gnomes on equal ground, right? Like that's the top 2 that I want to see. I can understand going gnome first because they kind of represent like a unique architectural design, and with the kind of sort of semi-steampunk. We just lost somebody. It's okay. He'll be back. Like sort of steampunk design. So bring something kind of unique to the world of fantasy. Like that's cool. I get that. Halflings are awesome. I like hobbits. So like the Shire, everything else. So like of course I'm going to be in support of that. Froglocks for Tonga, like I can accept them as part of the lore, and I'll put them on
I
equal
love
ground. So,
Froglocks.
like, yeah, they're cool, right? Battletoads.
I won't play one, but I love them.
Yeah, well, we need to get 3 people together to play them. It could be Pimple, Rash, and Six. It's awesome.
All you need is
I'm
gnomes.
sorry.
Just gnomes.
Gnomes are
Gnomes?
cool. I like them. Fae don't exist in my North.
No, I don't mean to be mean. I know there's a lot of people out there who kind of like the fairy and the Arasi, and I'm not trying to be a smartass with it, but I personally don't accept that they should come before any of the other 4 options on there. That's just,
I have
I
a
guess,
theory.
my old school arrogant attitude, but that's just
He-
me. I don't.
He was one of the 5 people that were voting for the Fae. He just got really pissed and left us.
That's what it is.
Sorry, Ed.
And we like the Fae. Come back. Where'd you go? No, you're right. We don't. We do not like that.
I know.
I mean,
hey, Jeremy, I do think because he made a comment. He thinks the Fade are more popular than I agree that they are more popular.
No, there's no
reality.
doubting their popularity. I think I'm just doubting.
I mean, I did totally just doubt their popularity because I said there's only.
I'm not doubting their popularity. I'm doubting the people voting for them. Should their vote count?
If we ever get to the point, because I've seen this said, maybe at some point we'll be able to have we'll be able to build quests, right? Like I will probably create the first fetch quest. I'm gonna make it go kill and gather 20 Fade butterfly wings.
I have a separate
you an epic
topic
item.
that you just inspired. Whenever you're done talking about.
No, I'm done talking. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What were you saying, Rick? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you were talking about, or he was mentioning building his own quest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they mentioned that being in Landmark. I don't know if it's going to be at launch, but I get the feeling maybe like making your own custom quests and using story bricks and all that type of stuff. Maybe that will be something that is just unique to Landmark and not even part of EQ Next, because I wouldn't really want it in EQ Next.
I see. I think it needs to be in EQ
unless
Next
they're
because
like they, you know how they're gonna have people build stuff like, hey, we need a castle,
that's what I'm thinking.
Best one wins or whatever. Maybe if they do something like that. But
I'm thinking even if you're a guild
really
and you
cool
need
thing for
materials, you
Landmark.
could put out a couple quests for people. Like, you know what I mean? We need 2,000 bricks and we need this many, and here's the reward. First one to get us the bricks completes the quest, and that's
okay.
it.
Yeah, something like that. That's cool.
I mean, that's kind of where I always thought, you know what I mean? Guilds can make quests based on what they need, and that right there will give gatherers outlets to go at, and, different guilds are going to have to compete with prices that they're willing to pay for it, and it's a lot better than a basic auction house system because it adds a little bit more creativity to it. Ed, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about the Fade.
This.
We
We have a
determined
theory that you left
when
because we were talking bad about the Fae.
Yeah.
That could have been.
Yep, you'll never know it, Donald.
Hey Rick, anyways, how do you feel about that joke's the best?
No,
I'm not creative enough for quests either. So
No, I mean, that's not going to make or break anything. If player created quests aren't in there,
is that a gay item?
you know what I mean. It's not gonna kill anything. I think it would be a cool addition. I think there's so much that goes along with that, though. How do you prevent inappropriate quests and
Right, but if it's in Landmark,
rewards and
who cares? Like, there's gonna be like Star
who
Trek
cares about Landmark?
Enterprises and stuff. There's Landmark's gonna be a totally different type of MMO. And I would like there to be more to do. Like maybe people build arenas and racetracks, and people build dungeons. And I hope.
I want someone
Basically,
People already do that in EverQuest too. Like in some of the housing aisles, there's a couple of housing aisles that are completely blank slates, and I know of one on, it's either on Antonio Bale or Nagafin that somebody literally built an entire arena out of, well, God knows what. But I go there and the whole island's an arena, and there's like stadium seating, and people could fight in there, and it's
what is this in?
EverQuest 2.
I'm so out of touch with that game, I guess.
Some of the stuff that people make in the housing in EverQuest 2 is mind blowing. I can't imagine what these people are going to make in Landmark.
That's what's honestly that's
arena's
like
gonna
really
be starter
exciting.
material.
For
You're
all
gonna
the
see
shit
Disneyland, dude.
For all the shit that I give at SOE or like this big debut, there really are some truly exciting things to do if done right, and if everything, all these promises are fulfilled, and thinking about the integration from Landmark to EQ Next, and I know as like an old school EQ guy, like there's going to be a lot of us out there, and I think he said we'll be able to upvote and downvote good and bad creations or whatever. Well, like that's a pretty good way to guarantee that some of those classic structures like the chessboard and butcher block, like that stuff's going to be great.
I love the chessboard.
Maybe SOE already have that anyways, but like some of those, maybe even some of like the lesser known landmarks, we'll be able to create it. More than likely, we'll get the support and hopefully make it onto a live server. So I mean, landmarks going to be really cool.
One thing that I like about the idea of Landmark, I know we're kind of jumping off topic now because we're at the end, but I've already seen on a couple websites that there's old school EQA people already planning on building EQA towns, cities, and all that. And for me, that's amazing. I mean, somebody built Freeport in Minecraft, and it looked like spot on. I mean, they're going to be able to replicate Oh, that was you? Nah. But, I mean, they're going to be able to replicate EQOA, and I just think that's going to be an awesome thing to see. I'm, like, excited to go back to these cities because I know people are going to build them in Landmark.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask, Rick. Do they have anything they want to ask or talk about, or?
Yeah, no, go ahead, fire away. I mean, if you have any, like, hate questions or feedback, give it to Justin, because he could take it the best.
I'm super insecure, actually.
I'm not looking at the chat. Does anybody have any questions, Rec?
No. Do you guys have any topics Rec asked, do you guys have any topics you want to discuss? It's a good question, Rec. Okay, you want to call it?
Yep. All right, well, before we call it, I want to thank Ed for coming on. Thanks, Ed. I mean, if you haven't heard any of his stuff, definitely go to YouTube. His first video was EverQuest Next Tribute. You'll see it. It's like the top one on there, and it's amazing. That's actually the song we use as the intro. And then he has his newest one, Heaven and Hell, The Battle for Kellethan, and he is working on a couple new ones. We haven't got to hear them yet, but we're all pretty excited for it, so definitely check him out. Thanks, Ed.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's it for episode 4 of Camp Check. See you.
Do we have like an outro music or no?
We could.
Ed, can you give us outro music?
Yeah, please. Can you play us off, Ed? Something maybe we would hear at an old saloon.
I don't know. Oh, Lord.
We're really putting him on the spot. I feel bad. He wasn't ready for this.
Well, I can play, but I gotta hang on. Is there a way I can mute you over here? Hang on. Otherwise, you're gonna come through. Hold on.
All right.
I wish I had beer in a pitcher right now. All right, thanks guys. Very good day.
See ya.